Following on from my haunted house series from Inktober, I got a lot of questions on tips for drawing buildings. Do I use a ruler? How do I get my proportions right? I was hesitant to make this video because a lot of what I know about drawing buildings just comes kind of instinctively now from a lot of practice, but I thought I'd share just a few tips that might help you get started. Today's video is sponsored by Skillshare, and if you're looking for a more detailed and in-depth look at drawing buildings, creating confident lines, understanding the components of perspective and techniques for rendering light and shadow, then I found a brilliant course on there called Sketch Like an Architect, Step by Step from Lines to Perspective, which I'll have linked below. The teacher of the class even offers a free PDF workbook which contains all the class notes as well as some exercises to really get that practice going. If you're new here, Skillshare is an online learning site I genuinely use whenever I'm looking to get a better understanding, learn something new, or develop a new skill, where there are tens of thousands of classes on all sorts of things that might suit your needs. In the next few weeks, I'm actually going to be using Skillshare courses to try and work on my knowledge of digital art and design softwares. They're offering free membership to the first 200 people who use the link that I'll have listed in the description below. Otherwise, it's $10 a month for premium membership and access to their growing library. Now, onto the video. Take a second before you dive right into the drawing just to observe the general shape of the building. Is it taller than it is wide? Does it have an overall quite square shape? Is it asymmetrical? I'll generally break up a building into 2 or 3 dominant shapes in my head, maybe an overall large rectangle and a trapezoid roof, and then I'll sketch those shapes out in pencil to give myself an overall guide to work with. If you start out with the smaller details, you might find that the scale and proportions of your building end up all wrong. I personally don't use a ruler at any stage of a drawing as I like a less rigid, more natural look. I found that one of the easiest ways to draw a straight line is to not try to draw a straight line. When we really try hard and take slow, careful strokes, it's pretty common for our hands to shake and wobble. Sketch lightly and at an even pace, and don't be afraid to go over the same mark twice. Another tip for drawing straight lines is to follow the edges of the page as a guide. Try resting your finger on the edge of the page and moving your hand without adjusting the angle or grip. And it always helps to take a step back and look at your piece from a distance to see if you're on track. Once you've got the overall shapes mapped out, you can start splitting the building into smaller elements like porches, roofs, windows, and doors. I use general comparison rules with each element using whatever I've already drawn. So for example, here the house is split roughly into thirds. The window on the right is about half the width of the third that it's in, and just over half the height. For the area with the door, it's also split into thirds, and if the door is this width, then the windows on either side will be slightly slimmer. Build up the image one bit at a time, using the parts that you've already drawn as reference for the size and positioning of new things. When it comes to inking your drawing, this is where you can really inject your style. I see a lot of beginners building drawings that consist purely of clean lines and flat shading, and if that's your style then brilliant, but don't be afraid to inject some life and movement into the drawing with different textures, varying lines, interesting colour or gradients or shading, or any other elements in your own art style. As I said at the beginning, a lot of the skill or knowledge with drawing buildings or drawing anything comes with experience, and that means making mistakes because you're never going to get it right the first time. While watching video tutorials, taking classes and reading books is hugely important, nothing beats putting pen to paper and trying and failing and learning along the way. One of the reasons I love drawing buildings is that they're so forgiving of small errors. You can add things and take them away if they don't fit, make things bigger or smaller, lopsided, whatever. You obviously want to avoid things like doors that lead to nowhere and floating chimneys, but as far as I'm concerned, it really doesn't have to be perfect as long as it makes sense. That's all for this one. I hope there's at least one tip that you'll be able to take away from this, and for any further understanding, don't forget to check out the Skillshare link below. Thanks so much for watching, I'll see you soon for the next one. Bye.